many files?
Okay.
Good evening, I'm saying
David Doran, Your Honor.
Mr. Doran. I have a warrant here out of Pima County Justice Court. Charges go back to June the 6th of this criminal trespass in a residential yard. I don't know if pretrial released you at that time and gave you another court date and you didn't appear at that court date, or
I never received notification of any court date, Your Honor.
well, pretrial services would have given it to you before they released it. You wouldn't get any notice beyond that.
Then it's my mistake, Your Honor.
Question is, how can we be sure you're going to show up in court next time?
I have a residence in town and have for the past year and a half, Your Honor. I don't plan on going anywhere outside the state, much less Tucson for the near future. Vehicle.
The failure was only 4 months ago. So you would have had those things at that time as well. So if I release you, we're going to appear in court.
Yes, Your Honor.
I will give you another chance to appear. Your court date is January 23rd at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're released on your signature and promise to appear. You're to violate no laws. You're not to leave the state of Arizona, and you're not to return to the incident location. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Doran.
All right, just go have a seat back in the, area. Put on the stairs. Out.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Dylan, last name Fouts, F-O-U-T-S.
Mr. Fouts. I have charges here from July the 25th for shoplifting and criminal trespass, then failing to appear in court on August the 28th. Then it looks like you may have been in custody sometime after that. Pretrial services released you, gave you a court date of somewhere around November the 14th. You didn't show up then. What makes me think that you're going to show up in court if you are released from custody?
Don't know.
So if I give you a court date, will you show up?
Yes.
I will give you one more chance. But if you don't show up, then chances are next time you get picked up, you will not be released on your signature.
Okay.
You don't go back to the
Thanks.
incident location. Your court date is January 23rd at 8:30 in the morning in the Pima County Justice Court.
Thanks.
And you're not to go back to the store involved. Thank you, Mr. Fass.
Thanks.
In jail, do we have any?
What was that, Your Honor?
Spanish speakers?
No, we do not, Your Honor.
Mr. Babb, you may be excused.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it.
Hello, Miss. Hello, Miss.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Good evening, Miss Summer. My name is Mr. Antonio Oliver.
you Raymond Antonio Oliver, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I have charges here from almost a year ago, December 25th, for criminal damage and disorderly conduct. And looks like you didn't appear in court, you had an attorney. And then at some point in time, you were arrested again and pretrial services released you and you didn't show up then. What makes me think if I release you that you'll show up in court?
I am going to show up in court because I'm not trying to go back to prison. As you said, this time I'll go in prison, Miss. And I don't want to go. I don't want to mess up and go to prison.
When was the last time you were in prison?
Like a couple years ago, I tried calling your court system and said that I didn't have no court date. So I kept calling and it said, and then I just left it alone. And then I went to jail on this probation and ratification. I barely got reinstated on this probation. So when I get out, I have to call my other probation officer too. So if you would give me another chance, I am gonna come to this court date because I'm gonna get a hold of my uncle, and my uncle's gonna see if I can bring me to this court date. I'm not trying to be in no more trouble.
All right, I'll give you another chance. Your court date's going to be January 29th at 10:30 in the morning in the Pima County Justice Court. Do you understand you need to be present at that time?
I'm turning 10:30 in the morning.
January 29th
All right,
at 10:30 in the morning in front of Judge Biscata. You're not to have contact with the alleged victim. Do you understand that?
Miss, I really appreciate it. You have a good day. Merry Christmas. Bye bye. Yeah, hey, Miss, you guys can give me papers.
Tell him.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Gastell.
Mr. Gastell. I have charges here from November 29th for possession of paraphernalia and then failing to appear in court on December the 12th. I'm going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you on this, but I will release you on these charges. Your next court date is going to be on February the 7th at 9 o'clock in the morning. If you're out of custody, you need to appear. If you're still in custody, your attorney will appear and they will set another court date for you.
Hey,
All right, but no alcohol or illegal drugs. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
So
you.
am I gonna remain in custody?
Yes, because you have a probation hold.
Okay. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas.
Me too.
Good evening, I'm just paid and you, sir, are
Apologies, Mason.
Mr. Mason. I have a
Yes,
number
ma'am.
of charges here for you. I've charges from December the 23rd for shoplifting, contempt of court. That is violation of a court order. Charges from December the 24th. For violation of a court order, resisting arrest and possession of paraphernalia. Charges from December the 22nd for shoplifting and contempt of court, the Walmart there near Sarnoff and Broadway.
Yes, ma'am.
Charges for criminal trespass and contempt of court on December the 23rd. Just a quick strip. Charges for shoplifting and criminal trespass on December the 13th. At 8310 East Broadway. Charges from December the 16th for criminal trespass, shoplifting. 8450 East Broadway. Charges for criminal trespass. December the 16th. And charges for criminal trespass at 8530 East Broadway. December the 20th.
Yes, ma'am. I got paper arrested for all this.
Right. The problem is that you'd previously been told not to be in that area and you didn't show up on it. we'll appoint the city public defender's office to represent you on these charges. You're not to return to Walmart, Dollar Tree within 6 blocks of Broadway and Penn, Sarnoff, or to Quick Trip. No alcohol or illegal drugs. Bond is $500. If you post the bond, your court date will be January 23rd at 2:30 in the afternoon. Courtroom 15 at Tucson City Court. If you've not posted the bond, you'll be seen on video on January 25. And I'd suggest you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Sir, as we have 21, 5900, no more, no more.
Your name?
Mona Solis?
Mr. Solis, I have a number of things here for you. I have charges for criminal trespass alleged to have occurred this morning on West Valencia.
Yes.
I also have charges from December 21st for criminal trespass at 2 West Valencia. Charges for criminal trespass at 550 West Valencia on November the 15th. Failing to appear in court charges for criminal trespass and possession of paraphernalia on November 25th. Represented 428 West Valencia. Charges of criminal trespass on November the 16th. Along with failures to appear, and that was at 660 West Valencia. Will appoint city public defender's office to represent you on these charges. Bond will be $250. If you post the bond, your court date's January the 7th at 10 o'clock in the morning. You're not to return within 6 blocks of these incident locations or to any Circle K. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You need to comply with your treatment. If you're still in custody, you'll be seen on January the 2nd, the week from Friday, at about 1:45. Thank you, Mr. Solis.
Good evening, Judge.
for the Arrian. Number four, the CO, Arrian adding fund, 21,900 and not that thing.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
So Marion Thomas.
Mr. Thomas. I have a couple of interim complaints here for you. I've charges from December the 11th, charging you with armed robbery, and aggravated assault. And also charges from October 28th for for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, domestic violence, and aggravated domestic violence. We'll appoint legal defender's office to represent you on these charges. Did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Yes, Your Honor, good evening. The recommendation, Your Honor, is based on the defendant's history. The probation that he's currently on for the felony case also does involve a knife. Looks like there are now multiple victims, the DV victim and also the other victim in which it involves the aggravated robbery along with an accomplice. High upon is recommended, Your Honor, based on the defendant's history and the facts of the cases.
And Your Honor, is there a probation hold yet or no? Your Honor, the jail informs me that there is no probation hold for Mr. Thomas yet, but I suspect that's because it's after hours and it's the holiday season. Your Honor, we would be asking you to consider setting nominal bonds on both matters so he can earn time credit. I think that probation hold is coming soon. Thank you.
And they're all sealable wells, 21,900, please.
Preliminary hearing is January the 3rd, 1:30 in the afternoon. With regard to the more recent, or the charges from the 11th,
They're coming out.
bond will be $10,000. If you post the bond, you'll be under supervision of pretrial services, no acts of domestic violence, no firearms or weapons, no alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to have any contact with alleged victims or any co-defendants. You're not turned into the incident locations, that includes the casino and the apartment complex, or to any victim's residence or workplace.
Just
With regard to the domestic violence charge,
Oh, please. Since you fall.
Same preliminary hearing date. Bond on that will be $35,000. Post that, you'll be under the supervision of pretrial services. We lost the jail. Here they come back.
Apologies, Judge. There was a technology glitch.
Right. So again, $35,000 secured. Pretrial services, if you post the bond, no alcohol, no drugs, no acts of domestic violence, no firearms or weapons. You need to surrender any other firearms. No contact with the alleged victim. It's Ms. Sanchez. You're not to go near her residence or workplace. And again, preliminary hearing, it's January the 3rd at 1:30.
So when they call her and she gets out of that drop,
No, you do not call her.
no, I'm not saying me, because I know who you're talking about. Imani Sanchez, she said she was gonna take that off. We talked.
So I'll talk to you about that. Judge,
Okay. Don't have anybody call her. And she can't just drop the charges. That's up to the state. Right. Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Your Honor, to be honest to you, in an effort to mute, we accidentally hung up on you unfortunately. So sorry about that.
I figured that out. Fortunately, I saw that you were gone, so we didn't continue until we got you back.
Thank you.
We all have those issues sometimes. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Evan Ackerman.
Mr. Ackerman. In a complaint charging you with possession of narcotic drug and possession paraphernalia. Alleged occurred earlier today. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. It appears that you may be eligible to participate in a program known as Smart Court. That would require counseling, treatment, compliance, but may result in a dismissal of the charges. Did you want to consider that?
It's a drug treatment program. So would you be interested in treatment for it? Yes, right? I'll say yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
We'll set a Smart Court hearing for December 31st at 9 a.m. Did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
As to the state, Your Honor, the state is asking a bond in lieu of no bond. He's currently on release on a separate matter and is before the court on the case.
And Judge, Mr. Ackerman is asking for one more chance on pretrial services. He told me he cares for somebody who he has a 2-year-old child.
Mom had some mentions. Come here, my last Christmas with her.
And he needs to take care of his mother, Judge. This is a non-violent offense, so he's just asking for that one chance to go out of custody today and take advantage of the Smart Court program. Yeah. We fully acknowledge the state can very well ask for a no bond hold and is choosing to offer one today. Thank you.
Given that he is already on release and this is a new charge, bond is $2,500. Preliminary hearing date will be set for January 3rd. You post the bond, then you'll be on pretrial services.
Um,
You don't have to take both that dementia. There's just no way I could explain it to them. To about any money that I don't have it. This is one time we possibly. This is one of those times in life where I just really need help, and I just no way I'll be able to explain. It's $2,500 to them. They don't understand it in their head. Just last year I took care of them, and it was a very tragic situation for my health. To actually be the caretaker of two people with dementia, and see it happening. And I just there's no way I'll be able to. I can't. I don't have the money. I don't have anyone I can explain it to help me. With it. And
You've got a lengthy history
I understand all of that.
and you're already on release
Um,
and you're
I'll take-
clients.
Again, it's just one time asking. I mean, I also take care of my 2-year-old kid. And no, none of it looks good. I understand that.
Thank you, Mr. Ackerman. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Christian Diaz de Leon.
Mr. De Leon. Interim complaint charging aggravated assault alleged to have occurred earlier today. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard further on conditions of release?
Yes, Your Honor, the state will ask for the bond amount based on the unprovoked assault the defendant committed that is alleged against the victim injuries, and he's also on probation on a violent offense.
And Your Honor, I am positive the court read the pre-trial report. His grandfather has offered some support. So we would be asking for release to pretrial services, but if you're not inclined, we understand. We just ask for a lower $5,000 bond. Thank you. There's no probation hold yet on him, right? On DS. Yeah, no probation hold is what the jail is telling me, Judge. Thank you.
I wouldn't expect there to be a pretrial or a probation hold yet. I'd expect that 48 hours from now, there will be a probation hold. Most likely. Preliminary hearing date's January the 3rd. Bond is $15,000. If the bond is posted, you'll be distributed to pretrial services. No alcohol and drugs, no firearms or weapons, no contact with the alleged victims. You're not to return to the incident location. You need to contact your probation officer on Thursday. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz de Leon. Good evening. I'm Judge Shade and you, sir. Mr. Gonzalez, in a complaint charging possession of narcotic for bail and weapons misconduct that occurred earlier today. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. And did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is asking for a bond in lieu of no bond. He's currently on release on a separate case involving sales. Now, the concern is he's increasing his criminal activity. Now there's a gun involved while he's also involved in offenses.
And Judge, acknowledging the state can ask for a no bond hold, they're offering a bond, so thank the state for it. But at this time, Judge, we're asking you to consider a $5,000 bond in lieu of no bond. Thank you.
Preliminary hearing date's January 3rd at 1:30. Bond will be $15,000. If you post the bond, you'll be under the supervision of pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. If you have any firearms, they'll need to be surrendered to law enforcement upon your release. You're not to return within 3 blocks of that Walmart. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I also have charges out of Tucson City Court from May the 18th of this year, along with multiple failures to appear.
Plus.
Given your failure to appear history, I'm gonna hold you on a $500 bond. Post the bond, your next court date's January 27th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you've not posted bond, there'll be video review on January 3rd. I anticipate that your attorney will move that if you're still being held on the felony, since your court date is the same day. You're not to have any contact with the alleged victims. You're not to return to the incident location or the victim's residences. No alcohol or illegal drugs, and no firearms. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
This speaks.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Arlen McCain, ma'am. Good evening.
Mr. McCain. Your complaint charges possession of dangerous drugs, possession of narcotic drugs, and possession of paraphernalia. Alleged occurred earlier today. Looks like you were seen a week ago
Yes, ma'am.
on similar charges and released to pretrial services. We'll
Yes,
appoint a
ma'am.
public defender's office to represent you on these charges. Does either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
No bond. The state is asking for a bond based on the defendant's failed to comply with court orders, as he's before the court again, in less than a week.
And Judge Mr. McCain is asking you to consider giving him one more chance. He really wants to make use of the smart court treatment regime and take care of both these cases. Hopefully, if the state still offers a contract on the second case, earn something after finishing treatment successfully, Judge. So we're asking you to consider giving him one chance on pretrial services one more time.
Please, ma'am.
Again, acknowledging the state can ask for a no bond hold and is choosing not to. Thank you.
Smart court hearing will be December the 31st at 9 a.m. Preliminary hearing date will be January 3rd at 1:30. Bond is $2,500. If you post the bond, you'll be distributed to pretrial services. Behavioral health and substance abuse assessment and treatment is available in custody and is directed by pretrial services if you're out of custody. No alcohol or illegal drugs.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. McCain.
So. See. That was like that, even though, so. Like that, I fucking. Okay. Newspaper stuff. Okay.
County 42.
Good evening, I'm Judge Tatum. Yes, there are.
Mario Quinones.
Mr. Quinones. Interim complaint here charging you with shoplifting and organized retail theft. Alleged to have occurred earlier today.
Thank you. Hold on, here.
We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. Did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
The only thing I will add, Your Honor, is the recommendation is also based on the new offense while the defendant has a post-adjudicated warrant.
And Your Honor, we are asking you to consider giving Mr. Quinones one chance on pretrial services release. He has no felony history. He is level 1 on the assessment, on the nonviolent scale, Judge. And we understand he has the post-adjudicated warrants from Justice Court. He seems to have family support. And due to the lack of history, Judge, we are asking you to consider giving him a chance on pretrial.
Preliminary hearing date will be January 13th at 1:30 in the afternoon in the Pima County Justice Court. You'll be released with third-party custody of pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. You're not within 3 blocks of that polls. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand.
I'd suggest you avoid contact with anyone who might be a potential co-defendant in these matters as well.
I understand, Judge. Thank you.
And then we also have a warrant failing to comply on disorderly conduct charges that go back to June of 2021. Your next
Here.
court date on this matter will be on February 19th at 2:00 in the afternoon. Your attorney does not represent you on these charges. Your attorney says you don't need to come to court. They're only talking about your January 13th court date. You still need to appear on February the 19th. You're going to wind up with another warrant. Do you understand that?
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Konas.
Is the charges
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Brian Richardson.
Mr. Richardson, in a complaint charging against domestic violence, aggravated assault, and auto theft alleged to have occurred on December the 23rd. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Your Honor, the state is asking for a higher bond in this matter based on the nature of the offense. The concern there is also a continued risk to the victim. The defendant did make significant threats, not only to the victim, but also the neighboring parties. For that reason, Your Honor, as to the concern and his violent criminal history, a higher bond is recommended.
And Judge, it looks like Mr. Richardson's last felony conviction is from 2015. He has a sister who has agreed to assume third-party custody. So for those reasons, Judge, we are asking you to consider, if you're not inclined to release him, we are asking you to consider $25,000. Thank you.
Preliminary hearing is January 3rd at 1:30. Bond will be $75,000. If you post the bond, you'll be in the Supervision of Pretrial Services. No alcohol, illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence, no firearms or weapons. Beginning right now, you have absolutely no contact with the alleged victim in this matter. You don't go to within 3 blocks of her residence or workplace. And you need to engage in substance abuse assessment and treatment is available while you're in custody. And if you're out of custody, as directed by pretrial services. Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
Thank you.
And you, sir, are
Good evening. I'm Jared Windus.
Mr. Vendis, in a complaint charging with being a fugitive from justice. Specifically a warrant out of Plymouth, Massachusetts. Aggravated assault. We'll appoint legal defender's office to represent you on these charges at a review hearing for December 30th at 2:30. And did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
And Your Honor, I do know the defendant has been a fugitive from justice for a significant amount of years. This offense is a serious offense that dates back. Nonetheless, the defendant is before the court on serious offenses. Though that's the basis for the recommendation. Looks like we do have an NCIC.
And Your Honor, it sounds like Mr. Vendis was arrested in 2020 and the case was later dismissed. It was refiled in 2022, and I talked to Mr. Vendis before court today. He indicated he did not receive anything in the mail. He had no idea that the matter was refiled. He only found out about the warrants after the law enforcement told him about it today. Your Honor, he absolutely has no other criminal history whatsoever. He was under the impression it was dismissed, not anymore. We understand, but he also seems to have some ties to Tucson, although he's lived here just 3 months. He has a friend who can assume third-party custody and take him to court. Your Honor, we are asking you to consider giving Mr. Vendis one chance to take care of this matter from out of custody. And unless the state has any more information, we think the $100,000 bond is not enough. Thank you, Judge.
And Your Honor, I do not see the fact that it was dismissed. I do understand that that's the defendant's statement to pretrial services and as well to Mr. Fatak, but I don't see that in the report. In addition, the state, the out-of-state is also asking for a no bond.
Bond will be $35,000. If you post the bond, you'll be in a situation of pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. And there's to be no alcohol, illegal drugs, or weapons in your residence or vehicles. And again, court date's December the 30th at 2:30. Thank you, Mr. Vendis.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Judge. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
We'll see you
Thank you very much.
soon, I'm sure.
Yes, Judge, I think that's.
Thank you. Bye.